You see a lot of kids on these platforms, especially public areas like the Black Cat and the Great Pug. And in some ways, VR is kind of a learning experience and a way for them to like meet new people. So I don't know if it's the best idea to be putting restrictions on games like this.
I'm a 30-year-old parent and my kids are one's 5 and one's 9. But like there have been kids that have been like this little kid that was like 3 years old, just like that. And everybody was like, you should not be on here. And like clearly the parents do not understand.
Once upon a time, they never killed a baby on a TV show. They never ever put children in harm. And then in the 70s, they started making movies like Magnum Force and all the Clint Eastwood movies where occasionally a baby would get harmed. But they never showed any blood. They never showed any violence towards the child. I am not kidding you. They never showed it. They would not show any form of any violence towards children. The camera would cast away, but they would never show the violence against the child. And today's children have grown up in an entire environment of violence against children.
Definitely though, yeah. I feel like kids should not be on here. I feel like I hear so much shit that kids go through. If you're on here, who's gonna stop you realistically?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's literally just unrestricted access. It's like it's like putting a 5-year-old in like New York City
And be like, yeah, here you go. Walk around, have fun.
No, like
Play
actually,
the VR industry.
that's like smart meta move number 1.
Yes, allow everyone under
Yes.
13 to play this.
No, don't do that, bro.
No, I misunderstood the
They
question.
should not be
I meant
exposed
yes,
to
as in
this,
don't
bro.
let them do that.
I'm significantly older than that, and even I shouldn't be exposed to this.
What, like
look,
16
no.
maybe.
No, I'd say like 35.
Oh, geez.
35.
They shouldn't ban all games for little kids. I think some apps should be available for those ages, but maybe like VR chat, maybe it shouldn't be available for like younger kids. Because I've met people who are like 6 or 8, which I think is really not okay.
I don't really blame it on Meta as much as I blame it on their parents.
Only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing.
Because there's a lot of mature and sometimes fucked up shit happening in VR chat. Because it's a big game. But, you know, the kids also should be allowed to play in safe environments. When you think about it, it kind of boils down to, you know, teach the kids that the adults hide things or that they have to be like in a safe environment and learn by themselves what's safe and what's not. You could put like a age restriction on VR chat, but unless you verify it, it's meaningless. It's just a number for the computer.
I think that's a really good decision on their part because it is like really hard to monitor. Like I have kids of my own, so it's like for them it's a treat to be able to play like Among Us VR and stuff like that and Rec Room, but at the same time I have to constantly like stream it to my phone to make sure, you know, that they're being like responsible and like all these other things. And so unfortunately there are people out there who aren't very well equipped with that, like who are able to monitor their kids, especially with VR chat. There can be some really great environments and there's can be some very toxic environments.
We used to have ratings. Now there's just a guy that comes on and says, if your children are watching, please ask them to leave the room. Like the kid's sitting there watching the TV and the kid looks around the room, no parents, turn up the volume, you know? We want our kids to grow. You know, we want them to learn things, like we want them to develop confidently, and I want my son to be able to talk to everybody. He was a little kid. I didn't want him to run behind me when an adult asked him a question, but I also didn't want him to walk up and just go with that adult, you know?
Well, there should be restrictions on some things, but not everything.
You have to remember, of course, that Meta is such a large company that they're essentially a colossal target. And any app that they release, especially in America, considering how their legal system works, suing is the laws that are in place at the moment enable a lot of accusations to be raised about child safety.
If my kids play this game, I'm going to feel definitely quite concerned, knowing that, like I said earlier, it is a game that caters mostly towards teenagers, but it's a game that can be played by literally anyone, considering that it's free. If I caught my kid playing this game, knowing what I know, I'm going to feel definitely concerned. Like, depends how old my kid is. If my kid is smart enough to handle himself, then, you know, go ahead. You know, make your own experiences, cause your own bruises and scrapes, you know. That's how one grows, essentially. But it is unfortunate how there are a lot of predators here, and just hurt people that just show off their toxicity in ways that can, ruin one's day. But for the most part, people seem friendly enough, they're just regular Joes who want to unwind.
The 13 years old, I don't think this is a really right decision because we know kids, they kind of shy and they really hard, let's say, some of them to making friends and that kind of stuff. And yeah, like for VRChat, it's just gonna like give you the environment, or let's say the world that you can meet kids and make friends. So I think Meta did really do the wrong decision because it's a parent's fault, not Meta's fault. Let's say bad people in the real world, exactly the same as VRChat. You're gonna meet every kind of person.
Yeah, internet missed my head, and I really wish it didn't. Let's just say I learned a lot of at very young age. They don't make game more accessible to kids, so they just ban them because it's easier. And I think just like having moderation ourselves should be enough. Like the option to ban, block people.
I agree a lot with everything he said over there. The one thing you can't really moderate though is voice chat in general. So it doesn't matter like what game you're playing. If there's a voice chat option in it, it's really hard to make it kid friendly. And like if this was 10 years ago, I think this would have been a lot bigger deal. But now kids are exposed to the internet at the age of 7, 8. So it's like, it's not too much different now.
It's honestly up to whoever owns the Quest or Index or whoever is in VRC to really monitor who's playing it, because it can be a good influence, it can be a really bad influence too. So I'm glad that Meta is upping the age requirement. I think it's going to do them a lot of good, because games like this are really, really difficult to set like an actual rating on it, because there are things here that happen here that are beyond 18 plus. It gets very, very complicated, but yeah, I'm definitely for the age restriction for sure.
I remember when the parental rating system came out and X-rated became a thing. I'm that old, dude. It really began back in the 30s and the 40s, but when it really came down to it after the McCarthy era, that President McCarthy, who actually had a House committee designed to create a more acceptable America, making sure that the on American activities was ratified by ensuring that people that spoke out against incited violence against young people or said every child should have a gun, that kind of thing. People that said that kind of stuff, those kinds of people were pushed out of society, as well they should have been. And then a law came into effect that protected people from hate speech. And today, it's all being ignored again because of the right of, they call it freedom of expression. Doesn't, and I have always said freedom of expression does not include your right to hate anybody you feel like it. Oh, yes, it does. No, it doesn't.
Growing up, of course, we've all done rebellious things, like when our parents tell us, hey, don't watch a grown movie or don't play these grown games. We're still going to do it, but ultimately it's better to have these restrictions because the internet can be a very vicious and filthy place. I feel like it's a better decision to make kids just vibe a little safer on the internet,
How accounts are made, and I don't know how many 13-year-olds have Facebook these days, their own accounts. I think a lot of kids nowadays often rely on having their parents make an account and then, for billing and stuff like that. So I don't think it's in that sense, a problem solver.
Children should not be banned on the Quest itself. Example, VRChat. This place has so many great stuff you can actually do even if you are below the age of 13, let's say. Like, I don't know, there's golf games, there is, you can meet up with people that sometimes are nice. Like, most of the time, to be honest, they are nice. Sometimes you just get weirdos. But yes, I do say this place is not for kids. It's like internet. Kids can use it, but it's not exactly meant for them.
I would be okay with it as long as they were being responsible and, they're at the age that they can do that. Like, in the meantime, they could play Rec Room, It's a little bit more safer in that sense. It does come down to like the entire situation of being able to monitor like what those kids are doing and stuff like that, and kind of relieve any kind of wiggle room that could possibly be for like lawsuit or something like that, or if something bad happens, like how do you explain that in VR and how that works with, well, Meta let this happen because they weren't doing this or setting these regulations. I think that's the part of VR, is that it's like there's going to be a whole new set of rules to like this as a type of social media, especially in VR chat.
We got one. We got one. So yeah, I'm gonna need you standing here. I'm gonna need you to turn around, put your hand behind your back. Perfect. You're beautiful.
What's going on over here?
If you
what's up?
mess with the criminals, we'll get you on in pending justice.
Kylie's asking what his YouTube
That's a
channel
real
is.
charge.
I feel like the company should kind of put their foot down a little bit, but then I feel like the community as well should help out and, you know, just to protect the little kids because they're precious.
I think in a nutshell, all I can say is that be wise with your vices, y'all. Just make sure that you build self-control so that you don't go down some paths that you're ultimately gonna regret. You know, like I don't regret anything in life. I'm still growing, but ultimately, just mind your business. Don't go too hard on the sauce, and that sauce can be video games too. Where are you gonna upload this on YouTube, man? Humans of VR. All right, man. I'm gonna keep an eye out.
Wish you guys best of luck, and you're really good interviewer. I really like you, dude. It was so fun to talk with you.
Kindness is contagious. When you are kind, you inspire others. Be the spark. Spreading kindness merchandise available now.